Well, hello. Welcome to the podcast. My name is Nathalie. I'm a former mental health therapist who transitioned into being an astrologer. This is our weekly astrology podcast where we get to talk about lunar nodes, lunar movements, as well as manifesting with the moon in astrology. Today we have the new moon in Pisces. This new moon was quite eventful as it collided with a total solar eclipse that was felt all over the world. It was a huge karmic moment, as eclipse season generally is. You may recall this is the second moon movement that we've had that came along with the eclipse. The last one we had was in Virgo, the lunar eclipse in Virgo on March 25th. And now this first half of the month of April is also going to be affected by eclipse season. Generally, the eclipse season in astrology brings about a lot of tension and chaos. I typically abstain from manifestation practices during this time because the experience itself is fairly overwhelming for me on my body personally. It takes a lot of energy out of me during this time. And with it being in the zodiac sign Pisces, you're going to feel that even more so, okay? Before I get into talking about what you can expect in terms of changes for you and what this means for you personally, I want to talk a little bit about what's going to be guiding or understanding of the purpose of this moon. Then I will talk about some of the personality traits or energies that come along with Pisces. And then finally, we're going to wrap it up with what this means for every person. So as we know, Pisces is a watery zodiac sign, okay? Water signs are all about letting go of control, all of them. That includes Cancer, Pisces, and Scorpio. Water signs came into this realm to learn how to release old patterns. The more water signs can let go, the more they shine, the more they vibe higher, and the more spiritually elevated they become, and therefore the more joyful and fulfilled they are in life in general. So when a new moon is coming, it is a powerful time for us for spiritual growth, for inner reflection. It's an opportunity for us to slow down and really take that time to practice good self-care, to practice staying grounded, and to practice giving ourselves self-compassion. As I mentioned earlier to you, the new moon tends to wipe me out when it comes with an eclipse because the eclipse season in astrology is a combination of the masculine and the feminine energies in us coming together as one. Okay? So depending on how balanced of a person you are, you're going to feel this energy differently. And it's not unusual during this time for people to experience, a lot of intense emotions, especially with the new moon being in Pisces. Don't be surprised if there are lots of tears. I've had quite a few this week. Not for anything major, but just feeling emotional tension and needing to just cleanse my palate, It seems I've been feeling a lot more emotionally fragile, like things that normally don't make me cry have been making me feel like sensitive. So during the new moon in Pisces, we're being invited to navigate things ending, things transitioning, doors closing, relationships renewing or ending, and allowing spirit to guide us through this process of refining our capacity to recognize how the universe is always working for our good. Water signs are here to embody this message of the universe is always working for my good. So no matter what's going on, I will still show gratitude because I know even if the thing that's happening is painful, it is still for my good. And that's what faith is. Those of us who believe in a higher power, whether you call that higher power goddesses, gods, God, the universe, source, spirit, whatever you want to call that higher power, those of us who believe in that force, we know that that force is the smartest force in the entire universe. So as a result of that, our comprehension of reality cannot exceed that of that force. So as a result of that truth, we submit. We bow down to the will of God in whatever shows up in our lives, okay? Pisces being the 12th sign of the zodiac, represented by the two fish that are swimming in opposite direction. Pisces is really about the duality of life. Pisces is about, the tension that comes with being torn between being a spirit being, which is what I believe we all are in a human body, but also having to deal with the reality of the things in the physical realm. So Pisces is constantly at war with itself, with balancing out, this idea of fantasy with reality, balancing out the spiritual with the tangible. Pisces has a deep connection to the spirit realm. In fact, I believe that Pisces is fully disconnected from the physical realm, and this is why it's so hard for them when they're forced to have to deal with the ugliness here on earth, because Pisces are known for their empathy, their intuition, their compassion towards other people. They're very deeply connected to spirits, to people's souls, and they're often drawn towards, spirituality and the arts for that reason, because Pisces is a natural psychic. Pisces is a natural healer. Pisces is a natural helper. Pisces, with their healing energy, can be prone to escaping reality because the pain of life is not something that they are used to facing head on. Part of the issue that Pisces has as a zodiac sign is a lack of boundaries. And this is very common with all water signs. Just not being able to just understand what their emotions are and what other people's emotions are, and being able to separate the two with understanding what's their responsibility and what isn't. So Pisces really came to remind us to embrace, our emotions, regardless of what they might be, whether the fish is swimming left or right, those are still ours. Whether it's confusing or it's clear, those are still ours. Whether it feels good or it feels menacing, those are still ours. So Pisces is saying, just hold on to you. Just hold on to you. Whether, the thoughts are dark or whether the thoughts are bright, they're all yours. And just find your center. That is what a healing or stable Pisces would be like. Those are people that trust their intuition, that are deeply connected to their spirituality, because they know that their purpose here in this world is beyond just what meets the eye. Pisces, as the ruler of the 12th house in astrology, is ruled by Neptune and Jupiter in modern astrology, but in ancient astrology, Pisces is considered to be ruled by Jupiter, okay? Jupiter, as you know, is a planet of dreams and spirituality, which is why Pisces is an excellent dreamer. That's why they're also very imaginative and very in tune with the things that are going on with you that you haven't told them. Is because Pisces knows all of life is art. We are all artists. So Pisces is not afraid of their intuitive abilities. They're able to pick up on the energies and emotions of those around them. They're excellent listeners. They're excellent supportive friends because they have a keen third eye that is working really, really well. Unfortunately, the downside of that availability, that emotional openness, is that they get overloaded with everybody else's energies and problems. Pisces is often wanting to escape us and reality because they're very sensitive. And it doesn't take much for them to get overwhelmed emotionally because they are so eager to make room for other people's emotions. So it's important for Pisces to find healthy outlets for their emotions and to learn, psychobehavioral skills on how to self-protect, how to manage their own feelings, how to set boundaries, how to honor their true selves, how to, practice unconditional self-acceptance. Pisces really struggles with that. And all of those habits will definitely help them improve the quality of their lives and also serve as a protection for them, as they're often, unfortunately, a magnet for narcissists who, want to take advantage of other people. In relationships with other people, Pisces are very romantic people. They're very devoted, soulful partners. As you remember, Pisces is the oldest zodiac sign. So they're willing to go the extra mile for their lovers and their loved ones because Pisces is really keen on deep emotional connections and, finding fulfillment in being able to fully express their feelings and fully feel seen and heard. Because unfortunately for Pisces, although this is a trait that comes very naturally to them, like compassion, empathy, imagination, being a good listener, creativity, intuition, Pisces doesn't realize that other people don't have these tools. So oftentimes people want to deplete them of all of their good juice, so they can recharge themselves. And Pisces, who hasn't practiced having any of these healthy, psychosocial skills, may suffer from being taken advantage of and being abused. So this eclipse season is bringing to the surface parts of our lives that we have been keeping in the shadow, parts of our life that we've hidden from ourselves as a way to kind of self-protect. Pisces struggles with acknowledging their shadow side at times when they're uninvolved because they're disconnected from the light, from God, So when the masculine, which is the sun, and the moon, which is the feminine, when the sun and the moon come together, which is what we experience today with the solar eclipse, what you're going to clearly see is an expression of that lack of balance. So if a person is not feeling very balanced, they're going to be experiencing, emotions that express to them very clearly what needs to change. So Pisces is all about the spiritual significance of the experience itself. So it's not even so much about the experience as what does it mean? And the duality of Pisces brings about, very interesting answers to that question, because what it means is not always what's overt, what meets the eye. And that's what Pisces knows, the truth of who we are, the truth of our purpose in life, the truth of the decisions that we make, and the truth of what our motivations are for making those decisions aren't always obvious to us. It's easy for us to deceive ourselves if that's what we're committed to. It's easy for us to deceive ourselves into thinking that what we're doing is the right thing, even when it's the wrong thing. It's easy for us to deceive ourselves when we're not aware, when we're not conscious of what we're doing and why we're doing them. So if you are zodiac sign Pisces, Sun, Moon, or Rising, or any in your big six or North Node, I would encourage you to really focus on self-care, because the next 2 weeks are going to be heavy. The last 2 weeks have been heavy. And it's going to be the effect of this are going to be felt over the next 6 months. So it's not stopping in terms of the energy that this is bringing, which is really about a reckoning. It's about a spiritual reckoning of that lack of balance. Like, in what ways have we been, living more in our masculine energy as opposed to our feminine energy, and vice versa? In what ways have we individually been living more in our feminine and not as opposed to our masculine? And how do we keep that balance? Wherever it is in balance, whether it's too much masculine or too much feminine, that area, that information is going to be exposed to us. And when it is exposed to us, it's going to bring some discomfort, because that's not what we wanted to see about ourselves. That we are people that don't have boundaries, or that we are people that are aggressive, or that we are people that, like to compete, or we're people that don't like to take accountability for ourselves and like to blame other people. Whatever that truth is that's coming to light now, it's going to cause a reaction in us. So Pisces is really encouraging us to let go of this need to control the narrative and to kind of surrender to whatever it is. So the truth, because the truth is from God. So this new moon is really a powerful time for us to evolve spiritually via inner reflection. And I would encourage you to take some time to be in prayer, to be in meditation, to journal, to go for a walk in the woods, to go by a lake, to go by a mountain, to go bike ride, to take a yoga class, this is really time to reconnect with yourself. A lot of times when we talk about God, people lose sight of it. God is really your higher self. It's your higher self. God is my highest consciousness. God is your highest consciousness. So when you and I come together in partnership and we are living in truth and we're living in honesty and we're living in authenticity and we're vibing high, wanting to get as close to love as possible, what we're bringing to each other is the highest consciousness, this awareness that this moment is special, life is special, nothing lasts forever in this universe. So anytime that you have something that makes you feel good, you want to enjoy it to the maximum. And that is how you honor its presence in your life. That sort of awareness is one that people who are disconnected from God, wouldn't have, because they're not thinking about what happens when they die. They're not thinking about that. They're not thinking about the fact that there is a reckoning that needs to happen with the actions that they've made in this life. Now, some religions teach that it's heaven or hell. Some religions teach that it's that you have bad karma in your next life. Some religions teach that it's that your descendants or your bloodline is going to suffer. Whatever it is, all religions or forms of spirituality agree that energy is neither created nor destroyed. Therefore, it is pretty clear that all of us agree that there is some sort of accounting that happens with regards to how we live our lives and the impact that our lives have on other people, the impact that our lives have on Mother Earth. What is our carbon footprint? How are we treating our animal friends? The other day I was thinking about this, and I think I may have mentioned this during a live before. One of the studies that I read a while back was that younger girls were starting to ovulate at a younger and younger age, okay? So what studies are showing is that girls' ovulation process has moved up as a populace. So the human female is ovulating sooner. And I was sitting there just reflecting on the fact that I think a lot of this has to do with the hormones and the foods. And I've watched way too many food documentaries as a person living with chronic illness to not have strong opinions about how food is connected to our health and well-being. So we'll save that for another day. But for now, I just couldn't help but focus on the sort of circular aspect of life. It's like we inject the chicken's children with substances because we want them to grow up very, very fast so we can feed this thing that we call capitalism so that the rich are getting richer, right? So that's kind of why we do that. And that's how it works for us, right? Now, the mother of those chickens gets to see the negative impact that this is having on her kids and on herself and on the entire, chicken population. And the pain that they suffer as a collective is not something we acknowledge nor respect because we don't see that as having anything to do with our pain, right? And then our children go ahead and eat their children. And then what happens is that the hormones that we put in their children so their children could grow quicker are now making our children grow quicker. And we're puzzled. And we're upset. And the scientist in me is confused as to why that would not be the inevitable. Because of course that's how it works. That energy is transferred and is neither created nor destroyed. So whenever we don't feel at peace with ourselves and balance with our masculine and feminine, it's usually a sign that we need to set more time to listen to ourselves, to honor ourselves, to pay attention to our true desires, our dreams, our feelings, our gut, our downloads. You may be sitting there and something that you've been trying to figure out for years all of a sudden pops into your head. Or it's that you just have a brand new, perception of yourself that you completely missed, that you didn't even realize. Because, what we perceive isn't reality. It's just our perception. And then from time to time, new information comes in that reminds you of how limited your perception is. This is why Pisces is, in fact, the most open-minded zodiac sign, because they understand that perception is not reality. Okay? This is why they often have very valuable insights, because they can easily see an argument from all those different vantage points, and they're fine with all of them and none of them at the same time. So Pisces is all about their instincts. So this time is to remind ourselves to follow our hearts, to trust our instincts, to dream big, to allow ourselves to be guided by our intuition, as opposed to letting fear run the show and doubt and negativity run the show. You know, Pisces new moon is about embracing the unknown and trusting that the universe has something magical planned for you. It's about setting your intentions and focusing on what really means something to you, what truly fills your cup, what really makes you feel alive and at peace. You know that feeling that birds have when they're flying? You know, that's a sense of control, but that is mixed with peace. That is what a good vibe feels like. That's exactly what it feels like. And all of us can manifest our desires if we are willing to get in spiritual alignment, because spiritual alignment is what brings in our manifestation. And spiritual alignment comes from embracing our emotions, knowing our emotions, reading our emotions, connecting to our dark side, connecting to our shadow selves, understanding our internal struggles, and really dissecting them to their core and being at peace with it. It's about allowing everything to flow, because you trust that the universe is giving you what you need so your soul can grow. You trust that you're here for a reason, and you trust that there is purpose with every transition, because you aren't in charge, and God, who's the smartest force in the universe, is. So how amazing is that? Now, the second thing happening with this eclipse that I want to mention before I transition to each zodiac sign is that on April 9th, which is just tomorrow, with Mercury retrograde being in the eclipse, I just want you to be aware that you may feel a bit of a shift, because at the time of the eclipse, which is also the dark new moon, with Mercury retrograde falling backwards, into the pool, I just want you to know that there may be some shocking news or some surprises or setbacks that may come up that you have to deal with, things that will surface that you were not ready for. And some of them may be disappointment. Some of them may be having to acknowledge mistakes that were made and wanting to start over. Some of them may be about, heavy emotions that you've been trying to avoid. Whatever it is, whatever issue is going on in your life that you have not given yourself a chance to prioritize, I want you to know that there will be no escaping it over the next couple of weeks, because this energy is very intense. I don't know if you felt like sleeping a lot or not sleeping at all. For most people, it's been one extreme or the other. And it's a lot of anxiety. It's a lot of ruminating thoughts. It's a lot of, going down memory lane. It's a lot of nostalgia, a lot of tears. It's a lot of anger for some people. It's just been a lot of emotions all over the place. And for those of you who are not used to talking about your feelings, or if you find feelings gross, or if you were raised to believe that feelings were these dirty little things that make you weak and adults shouldn't have them, then this is going to be a difficult time. But if you're somebody who believes that feelings are a messenger, that merely come to show you who you are or tell you about yourself to help guide your decision, then obviously, it's not going to feel the same. My friends, now is the time to dream big, okay? There's so much unpredictability in the air at this time. I say, why not lean into it? Why not lean into the chaos? Why not take a chance in the midst of the chaos? Why not try something different and see where that lands you? So I want you to be more reflective over your feelings over the next couple of weeks, because I think that will, the more discomfort you're willing to sit with when it comes to investigating those feelings, I think that will help you get closer to your goals and closer to your manifestation, because manifestation is merely the byproduct of being in spiritual alignment. Manifestation is not so much about forcing a narrative, but it's about being so grounded and so still that you can feel the story before the story happens in the physical realm. That's what it's about. I'll give you an example. Earlier today, my little sister came to visit, and I was sitting at the table with my wife, and before my sister rang the doorbell, I heard it. And then immediately after she rang it, we all heard it. So I say that to say, when you are spiritually balanced and tuned in, the experiences are no longer shocking because you already saw them. That's the advantage that you get, is that you feel everything coming before everybody else can see them. And when you see them, people, if you don't know your gifts and you share them with people who have no faith, and you tell them things, they may not want to hear you, or they may not, kind of like that story. We don't talk about Bruno, no. That's what Encanto was about, right? Bruno was like the spiritual soul in the family who understood how the family was wounded and was trying to warn them. But what did they do? They turned against him and ostracized them from the rest of the family. And he loved the family so much that he stayed with rats in the gutter just so he could hear them having dinner, even though they excluded him. That is what this is about. It's about love. It's about love. And in order to be good lovers of ourselves, of Mother Earth, of each other, we have to be willing to see the truth, because God is love, the truth, and the light, right? So Aries, because this falls on your 12th house, this is going to be a time for you to reckon with the fact that you may have lost your touch with reality. Reckon with the fact that it may be time for you to see yourself more clearly, and reckon with the fact that there is some emotional work that may be helpful for you during this time. This time is really about you addressing your true sensitivity and nurturing your true relationship with yourself as a spiritual being. And, be willing to take it slow and care for yourself and engage in self-care and taking time to recharge, Aries. Taking time to recharge so that you're not so vulnerable and so depleted, because a lot of the decisions that you're making when you don't feel good are often self-destructive, and that wouldn't be happening if you were taking better care of yourself. Now for you, Taurus, this newness is about your new friend group. You need to set some new intentions around that. So all we do on the new moon is we set intentions. You need to set some new intentions about having a friend group that is supportive and having compassion for some people in their group, and not necessarily making your life, a playground for them. So practice having healthy boundaries in your friend group, and basically network with people who have things of value to offer you. Reach out to people who, you might be connected through social network, any type of mingling with other people that you can do to open up your friend circle and your resources. I say do it. Now, for Gemini, for you, it's going to be around your public persona, dealing with your accomplishments or your career or your public reputation. If there have been some bad decisions that have been made around some of those things, it may be, You may be forced to reckon with some of those things, with the guilt that comes with how, poorly situations may have happened, in the past. But it's really about you letting go of the past and stepping into your new confidence. It's okay to make mistakes. You just have to figure out how to let go, how to move on from there, how to jump into action from there, visualize a new plan, dream a new dream, and try something new. I just want you to get back into this feeling of being playful, and being willing to get back out there and grow in different ways. Now for Cancer, this new moon is really about you taking the time to expand your consciousness through travel, education, and broadening your perspective. You have the power to really make a change in the world, but it requires that you be, willing to study, that you be willing to learn a new way to expand your skill set, your repertoire, that you be a little bit more curious of how to make yourself more marketable. So this is a time for you to really push yourself outside of your comfort zone. I know that when you get uncomfortable, it's hard for you to peep your head out again, especially because you feel everything so deeply. But this new moon may just teach you that just sometimes we feel things that aren't necessarily what's actually happening. Because sometimes we combine feelings from two separate situations and then we put them on the third situation. And if we're not even aware that the feeling from this situation and that situation affected the third situation, how do we break the cycle? We have no clue what's going on. So this is a time for you to get curious about the possibilities by just taking those baby steps, try skydiving. Try going to the park, try, doing things that make you feel uncomfortable. Try, eating someplace new. Just be different, do something different, and allow yourself to experience new things. For Leo, So for Leo, this new moon is coming into your 8th house, which is about transformation. 8th house is sometimes about shared resources in marriage. It's also about transformation in terms of death and sex and sexuality and power and status. So, on the practical level, money could come up, love could come up, divorce could come up. This is a time for you to let go of a lot of emotional baggage from your past that is prohibiting you from living the life of your dreams. This is a time for you to speak your truth, to own yourself, to extend compassion and forgiveness to yourself, to fight for your right to have a brighter future, to fight for your right for the possibility of something new that is even greater than what you're currently experiencing. So this new moon is really making a list of what you want for yourself in the future. I would encourage you to also journal about ways in which you've kept shame and regret and, mistakes that you've made in the past keep you from, choosing yourself again. So it's really a time of reckoning, for you to re-examine the ways in which you have allowed the pain from the past to, continue to hurt you in this reality. So only by being aware of that can you really take the time to, set new goals that you can kick ass at, But it's important that you be gentle with yourself, because Leo, when you let the honor that you perceive yourself to not have demonstrated, when you let the pain from that get to your head, it can literally overwhelm you. And there's no point in it when you could just go, okay, that was a bad one, turning the page, moving on to the next thing. For Virgo, you might be meeting somebody new, if you're dating, or if, if you're not dating, and it might be a time to get on dating app. You might feel a need to really explore partnership, start a new romance. And perhaps if you're already in a relationship, maybe you want to take the relationship to another level. So this might be a good time for some tender, sweet conversation that happens between you and the people that you love, whether that's your man, your woman, your person, your human, or it's family, or it's friends. You're just going to be having like deeper moments with people that really connect you on the soul level. Because for you, this is all about meaningful relationships that are also bounded by contract. So that would be coworkers, family members, spouses, that sort of thing. And that's what the seventh house is about. It's about partnership. It's also about, romantic relationships and business contracts alike. Moving on to Libra. Libra, for you, this is going to be a time to really get back to your daily routine when it comes to the things that you do to take care of yourself. This is a time for you to be really supportive of yourself because you are making a lot of cool changes in your life so that you're healthier, like making sure you take care of your skin, making sure you're taking a shower every day, making sure you're brushing your teeth and, putting makeup on if that makes you feel more alive. Just making sure that you're doing those little things, maybe light a candle at night or, I don't know, aromatherapy, like whatever you're into, just making sure that you have a daily ritual and evening ritual that you implement every day, right? To help you feel in alignment, because Libra, you're very susceptible to accepting other people's negative energy. So that means there's more of a responsibility on you to self-care. So, it's important to be deliberate about making time, to heal yourself, to journal, to have a healthy routine that makes you feel safe. If you haven't had any of that, you're definitely going to have challenges feeling in alignment, especially Libra being so focused on balance. But this is a wonderful time to really reset those scales where you are taking good care of yourself as well as the others in your life. And if you need help, to ask for help, or, if you need to talk about something that's on your heart, it may be time to kind of purge yourself of some pain that you've been carrying around. It may be time to reckon with the fact that life is tough and there's certain situations in life that we can't change and we all have to live with. So if I were you, one of the things I would do is make a list of, things that I want to do in the future. So, in terms of like the quality of life I want to have, what kind of lifestyle do I want to have? And then I want you to imagine like what kind of person lives that life. Like if you want this lifestyle, what kind of person do you have to become to manifest that life? And then like highlight the habits that this person has, and then try to put them on like how that's reflected on a daily basis. What are some of the behaviors on a daily basis that that person would engage in? And then you create a schedule in your life to help you become that person. If you are Scorpio rising, this is going to be a great time for you to meditate, reconnect with your heart, with your joy, with your passion, with your love for the limelight, with your ability to take chances, to do what nobody could see before you started it, like climbing a tree, just, classes where you can, what are those called? Pant and sit. Yeah, things like that. Like anything that you've never tried before, art classes, singing classes, performing classes. This is a time for you to invite joy into your life. We're talking about like, it's a time for you to really live it up, like especially because Pisces is also a water sign. This is an excellent placement for you to really lean into this area of your life in terms of like what brings me the most joy, and create opportunities in your life that basically speak to that. Moving on to Sag rising, for you, it's going to be 3rd or 4th house of your home. So there's going to be changes to your living situation that you're going to be dealing with. So this is all an opportunity for all of us to kind of break generational cycles, because the eclipse season is about that. So it's about being, willing to examine the ways in which we're living like our mothers and the ways in which our mothers live like our grandmothers. And what are some pain from those stories that we want to undo? So it's going to come along with some nostalgia, just reflecting on mom's mom, mom's grandmother, dad's dad, dad's granddad. There's a lot of, sensitivity that can come with that, or even insecurity, or pain. So it's going to be important for you to sit with your feelings, and embrace the waves of emotions and allow them to wash over you, because nobody does renewal like you. Nobody does rebirth like you. So as Scorpio rising, you're bred for, being able to just automatically transmute energy. But a lot of times it's hard for you to break out of cycles when you don't see yourself as the agent of your own toxicity. So for you, it's really, I said Scorpio and I meant Sagittarius, I'm sorry. So for you, it's really about thinking about the people who are really invested in your life, okay? I want you to think about the people who are very invested in your life and make an effort to be as invested in their life, okay? So this is a wonderful opportunity for you to show a little bit more expression of gratitude, to be a little bit more honest about the way the people in your life feed you spiritually, and to find a way to thank them for their service, because they don't have to do it. So those people that keep us grounded when life is hard, those are the people that love us, because those are the people that carry the burden of risking, to lose us. The people who don't love us don't care to lose us. They don't care if they lose us tomorrow or 2 days from now. But the people that love us, they carry the burden of not having to ever have to think about that day, to face that day. That's how they think, because they love us. So when you're Sagittarius moon, you often forget who fills your cup, because, you get used to the attention, and you start thinking the attention means like respect and means value, when attention doesn't necessarily mean value. Getting attention from people doesn't mean those people care about you. Number one, those people love you. Number two, and those people will help you if you needed help. Like sometimes people watch you because they envy you and they want to see bad things. That's literally why they come, because they want to hear something bad. Or sometimes people watch you because they're jealous of you and they want to study you so they can figure out what your sauce is so they can copy that in their lives. Both people are watching you. None of them love you or care about you, but you're sitting here thinking that those people are important and they're not. So it's really a time to kind of break free from generational trauma cycles and renew yourself in the way that you do family, and renew yourself in the way that you do like what's right and what's wrong. And, it may be time to come to terms with that. You have to choose your family. If your birth family cannot live up to your expectations of having a family, then like what you imagine your family would be like, then yeah, it's time for you to go to the, depths of those roots and sit with those feelings so that you can identify new ways to love yourself again and feel safe in this world, okay? With your family by your side, biological or not. Moving on to Capricorn. This is an opportunity for you to get into some hobbies, Capricorn. Try some new things, try some fun things. Maybe sign up for like a public speaking class, okay? Maybe it's a writing class. This is definitely a time for you to spread yourself wide when it comes to communication and really embody the exciting opportunity that we have to to pitch ourselves in a new form to the world, to allow ourselves to be led by, art, by the moment, by romance, by new ideas, by, new feelings. Capricorn is often very stagnant as a zodiac sign because they like to move at their own pace, which is slow and steady. But in addition to that, Capricorn is also very specific about what they consider steady, So not having that voice of joy and fun is something that definitely leads to Capricorn being a very terrible partner, friend, person to be around because they get tunnel vision. And for you, this new moon is inviting you to have more fun, to be more irresponsible as you would see it, even though in your book, irresponsible is still pretty darn responsible. But it's really about you, I'm just going to say it, you feeling more free. Okay? You feeling more free and trying a new hobby, and trying new things. And yes, sometimes we do things that don't pay, and that's okay, because from time to time we deserve to feel joy. Okay? Because that joy is really what's going to take you further. Because the money will come if the joy is there. All right. For Aquarius, this is a time to make a list of all your resources, all the things that are going well for you, all your connections. Just reflect on all of the things that you already have in your life that were gifted to you by your ancestors, and just affirming how special you are and how nobody's like you because you're you. So it's really a time of positive affirmations. It's a time of recognizing that you're truly the baddest. And it's a time of really making peace with your uniqueness, and just being okay being yourself. And it's a time to really hone in on those affirmations in the mirror. And, Issa Rae is one of the actor who does it best, get in front of a mirror and say what you need to say to yourself. It's really important that we say positive things to ourselves as opposed to waiting for somebody else to do that for us. So whatever journey you're on, whatever you're starting, whether it's a new relationship, it's a new job, whatever new chapter is going on in your life, I just want you to know that, you're going to love it because you're going to be able to use all of your talents, all of your gifts, all of your skills. And what's beautiful is you're going to get to shock people in the process because they're not going to see it coming. So respect all of the things about you that make you unique, that make you different, and embrace them all. And thank God for your ancestors who gave you the opportunity at all of this dopeness, okay? Moving on to Pisces. So for Pisces, since this is in your first house, you're going to be dealing with a lot of ego deaths, a lot of coming to terms with reality and being willing to decide what kind of person you want to be. Pisces, this is your healing year. So this is a perfect opportunity for you to get started with your healing process. It's important for you to take space, that you get a big ego, that you be more selfish, more self-centered during this time. It's time for you to be daring, to try something new, to just be willing to really see yourself and decide, is this who I want to be? Is this who I want to be? Is this who I want to live as? This is about starting over for you in every aspect of life, setting new goals, and just being willing to go for something new. We're dealing with a time in life where the pressures are getting more heightened with everything that's going on in the world. And it's getting to the point where all of us have to kind of reckon with how we want to do the rest of this ride. Because the way stuff is getting wild by the minute, we can't really afford to react to all of it. So this is just a reminder. That's what this Pisces, new moon is bringing. A reminder that we're not in control. God is. And sometimes the best things that can ever happen in your life are the crazy things. And that's it. It doesn't always have to make sense. But if it feels right, then that's the truth. Then that's God. Then that's love. All right, guys. I love you. Thanks for listening to the weekly Astrology Weekly podcast. I appreciate you. Don't forget to follow my YouTube channel, Astrology Weekly. I also have another YouTube channel for astrology love. When it comes to popular culture as well as just love in general. It's called Styled Under, and there's my main astrology education channel called Intuitive Healing. I just like saying intuitive. So follow me on YouTube, follow me on all social media, TikTok included, and have a wonderful, wonderful evening. And I'll catch up with you again at the next lunar moon.